From the 5 at Soma City in the heart of Toledo, Ohio, it's Late Night with Sammy A. Joining Sammy tonight, John Agostinelli, featuring the highly esteemed David Martin. And now, here he is, Sammy A.
Stop. Yes, okay, that's enough. Hey, you guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a land of friendship, fun, and games. Welcome to Late Night with your boy Sammy, also known sometimes as your friendly neighborhood Nigerian. Hey, did I ever tell you guys about that one time when I literally got to put my hand, are you ready for this, David? On the shoulder of a guy who's not only famous, but he is one of the most famous leaders in the history of the world. Everybody go, ooh. That's a true story, right? I got to talk, and I'm not talking like Hollywood famous. I'm not talking like, Western world famous. I'm not even talking like 21st century famous. I am talking historical, through generations and through countless cultures famous, and I got to put my hand on him. Needless to say, this was number one on my list of close encounters with famous people. Number two on my list was a long time ago when some friends and I, don't ask me how, we crashed Madison Square Garden in New York City to watch LeBron play, and after LeBron won the game, he took his sweaty towel and threw it in the crowd, and I was this close to catching it, and I was so mad that I didn't catch it. I called my wife. I'm like, babe, I almost caught LeBron's sweaty towel. And she's like, what? I'm like, I almost caught it. She's like, so? I'm like, hang up, right? And I called Dad. I'm like, Dad, I almost caught LeBron's sweaty towel. And he's like, that's amazing. I'm like, thank you. Right? So that's number two on my list of close encounters with famous people. Number one on my list, David, is when I got to put my hands on the shoulder of none other than the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Moses. David, do you know who Moses is? You know Moses, right? Big bushy beard, Prince of Egypt, let my people go. Believe it or not, I promise you I'm not making this up. Several years ago, a long time ago, many years ago, my friend John and I, he's a guest on the show today. We got invited to D.C. for this National Day of Prayer thing. I don't know how we got invited, but somehow we found ourselves in the room. And I just remember sitting down and looking. And what do you know? Sitting across the aisle from me is Moses himself, sitting right there. Now, I don't know how you would have responded if you were like in the presence of somebody super famous, but I started to freak out. Like seriously, like I was losing my mind. I was sweating, okay? And I'm not talking like little drips of sweat. I'm talking like it looked like someone put like garden hose in my armpits. Dave, you ever sweat like that before? You ever know what I'm talking about? Like there's sweat dripping, and I'm like breathing a little bit different. You ever been around anybody famous? You ever notice how you start breathing a little bit different? Like I'm almost like hyperventilating. I cannot believe that I am in the presence of a guy who played the role of Moses so well. I don't know if most people know this. He was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor. Okay, so Charlton Heston is who I'm talking about, by the way. He played Moses in the Ten Commandments, and Charlton Heston is sitting there, and I cannot believe it. I am just freaking out. I'm losing my mind. I'm breathing a little bit differently. I'm trying to tell John, I'm like, John, it's Moses. And John's like, who cares? I'm like, everybody cares. It's Moses. I don't believe that I am in the same room as Moses. Now, I don't know how everybody responds to famous people, but I think at the very least, some of us freak out. Some of us are like, it's not a big deal. I think all of us can agree that we don't act normal when we're around fame, right? You ever been around someone famous? Think, David, if the most famous musician, famous actor in the world walked in the room right now, at the very least, none of us would act the same. And I think the reason we do that, I don't want to oversimplify it, but I think part of the reason that a lot of us start acting really weird when we are close to fame or close to famous people is because we feel seen. Right? I don't know if you ever thought about it that way, but something about seeing famous people makes us feel seen. Right? Something about being close to fame makes us feel like we are important. And while there's nothing wrong with feeling seen and wanting to feel important, I want to maybe just suggest tonight that contrary to what our culture has taught us, the best way to be seen is not to get closer to fame or famous people. Could it be that the best way to be seen is actually for us to get close to friends? Okay, and I know that sounds so cheesy and cliche and whatever, but what if it's true? Right, just think about that for a second. What if it's true? What if it's true that friendship can offer you and I in the long term what fame offers us in the short term? All right, what if it's true that this idea of being fully known and fully loved by friends is actually the essence of life? What if it's true that the closer that we get to our friends, the more seen we are, and the more seen we are, the more alive we become, and the more alive we become, the more everything changes in our lives. You know what the craziest thing about that story is? The day that I met Moses, it wasn't just that I was in a room or that I got to gut up and put my hand on his shoulder when they asked if anybody needed prayer. The craziest part about that story is that the best part of the story is not that I was in a room with a famous person. That was pretty cool. I've told that story a million times. But it took me almost 20 years to realize that the best part of the story isn't that I was in the room with someone famous. The best part of the story is that I was in the room with my friend. Right? The best part of the story is not that I got to stand close to Moses. The best part of the story is that my friend John was standing close to me. And he didn't just stand close to me in that story, but he stood next to me through all the highs and the lows, craziest times of my life. And fast forward 20 years later, and that same guy is still standing in my corner. That's the best part of the story. That's the best part of life, is that we get to do life with people who stand in our corners. Can't tell you guys how excited I am for you to meet our guest today. We're going to have so much fun. We have so many stories to tell you, and we're going to play a game that I think you're going to really enjoy. But before he comes out here, will you do me a favor and give it up for my co-host, my hype man, the one and only Mr. Dave Martin, everybody. Give it up. You guys go sit down. Give it up, give it up. Woo! Oh, man. That was different, David.
It was.
You okay?
Okay. It threw me off because I was like, Moses. I don't know if you're talking about the actual Moses.
Moses, yeah. Well, I mean, that would be pretty creepy if I was talking about the actual Moses. Not the OG Moses, but you know how when you watch a movie or a show, that's what you picture and think about the whole time?
Yes.
That's what I was picturing.
Okay.
I grew up watching Charlton Heston play Moses, and that was the picture I just had in my mind the entire time. And so, but yeah, so.
No, but that was real beautiful. It got your
Moses.
boy
I know.
kind of good.
I was trying so hard, and John's standing back there and trying so hard not to look at him because I'm like, I'm going to start crying. And so anyways, David, quick question before John comes out. Do you like kids, by the way? I didn't ask you this. You like kids?
I do.
Okay,
yes.
That's good, because this would be awkward if you didn't like kids. And so my kids, when they found out that we're filming late night, wanted to come hang out. And so I thought I would bring them in for just a little segment before John comes out. And so they're going to come hang out with me. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where they are, but without further ado, would you please help me welcome my kids to the stage? 3 of the 5, Eden, Nora, and Lola. Where you guys at? Come on stage. Woo! Come on. Come on, girls. Come on. Oh, look at them. Yes. Yeah. How we doing? Good. Are you guys excited to be here?
Yeah.
You look so pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Lola's like, thank you. When I walked out earlier, Eden's like, you look so good. Thank you. It's hard not to look good when you got 5 daughters and you're married to a woman too. So it's a hard thing to do. But glad that you guys are here on the show to hang out with us. So real quick, we're gonna play a game. Before we play the game, I want you guys real quick, because we're talking about friendship, right? And so real quick, I want you guys to tell me the name of your best friend. Do you have a best friend?
Yeah.
Do you have a best friend?
Yeah.
You do. Okay, I want you to tell me the name of your best friend. I want you to tell me what you love about your best friend. Okay, Eden, you want to kick us off?
My best friend's
You
name
gotta talk louder so they can hear you.
My best friend's name is Brooklyn, and I love her because she's really nice and always plays with
She's really nice and she always plays with you. That's awesome. What about you, Nora? Who's your best friend?
Lauren.
Lauren. What do you love about Lauren?
She plays with me every day, and she's really nice.
Every day? Does she ever play with any other person?
Well, she sometimes plays with other people with me also.
With you also. Okay, but you're always there with her?
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Lola? Who's your best friend?
Lily.
Lily's your best friend? Yeah, what do you love about Lily?
I love her
You-
so much.
You love her so much. Isn't that the cutest thing in the world, David? That's amazing. Okay, so one of the things that we like to do, David, in our home at dinner, we do this all the time, right? We like to play, what do we play?
Would you rather?
Would you rather, right? But instead of doing the normal would you rather, we like to just like come up with our own scenarios. And so we were playing this yesterday, and so I said, okay, girls, why don't we bring you guys on stage to the show, and I'm going to have you guys ask Mr. David some of your would you rather questions, and we'll see what he thinks. How's that sound? Can we do that for a little bit? Yeah. Okay, so Eden, you want to kick us off since you're the oldest? So you got to ask Mr. David. So you got to pick one, David, all right?
All right.
You got like 30 seconds to answer this. Okay, what's the first one?
Would you rather wear a bow bigger than your face or be a princess?
Oh, did you hear that? Would you
Yeah.
rather wear a bow bigger than your face or be a princess? What do you say, Mr. David?
I think I would be a princess. I'll get a,
Can you tell us why? You just
because, you know, I'd be royalty. I'd have access to so many resources.
Okay.
I'd probably have some killer ball gowns just
yeah.
all over the place.
Is that a good answer? Do you guys like that? He'd rather be a princess? Can we give Mr. David a hand? That's a good job. Did he do good? How did he do good? Did he do good? Okay. All right. All right. Before I let you guys go, I got one for you guys, okay? Would you guys rather have 10 more sisters or one more brother?
10 more sisters. 10 more sisters.
10 more sisters? Oh my goodness, 10 more sisters. Okay, we're gonna work on that. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. After the break, my friend John's gonna be on here. Give it up for Mr. David and give it up to my daughters, Eden, Nora, and Lola. Woo! Yeah, that's right, David. That's right. Welcome back. Glad you tuned in. The lead story for the season, Late Night with Sammy, is friendship. Today I have one of my favorite friends in the world as a guest. Just a couple things before he come out. This guy is actually related to Madonna. The last girl he asked on a date before his current wife laughed in his face. He claims that he can make your hiccups stop instantly. He is terrified of leftovers. He's married way out of his league, and his hairline is so deep you can see what he is thinking. Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome to the stage one of my best friends in the world, Mr. John Agostinelli. Come on, man. How you doing, brother? You like that one, huh?
I'm hugging you. I'm hitting you, man.
You're hitting me. I looked that one on the Googles. I was like, I need some good hairline jokes in there. And so,
I haven't heard that one before.
You haven't heard it? So deep you can hear what it's thinking. So how we doing, man?
Dude, it's been great, man. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's good to see you too.
Good to have you here. So obviously we've known each other a really long time. So John and I have been friends for almost 20 years now. Does that sound about right?
Over 20, actually.
Over 20
2000,
years.
man.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And so that's part of why I was making the hairline joke, because Jen had a lot of hair when we first met, a lot of hair. But now it's running away from his face. So it's not a roast of John, I promise. So John, I was thinking, John, obviously we have so many stories from over 20 years of friendship. But when I think about friendship, one of my earliest memories, and I think one of the most memorable times was, I think it was in the year 2000, the summer of 2000, you and I got in a car, Lorraine, I think was your car, because I couldn't drive, you would drive. You were my Uber, basically, before there was Uber.
Yeah.
And we drove to Orlando, Florida. Right. And so John and I spent an entire summer in Orlando, Florida. And John, there are two stories I remember. There's so many stories from that summer, but there's two stories I remember specifically. One is we stopped at a motel. Do you remember that story? Tell that story a little bit. And so we're driving, and we had to stop at a motel. This was before internet, where you could there wasn't hotels.com. This was like we had to kind of go to AAA and map it out. But do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, I mean, this is how old were I can't remember how old we were, but I think it was were we 18? I got to do I forgot. Yeah. So 16 or 18, I was 18.
She said 16 or 18, somewhere in there.
But the point is, and if you guys know this, right, if you have to go rent a hotel, you've got to be a certain age, you've got to be 21. We didn't know that until we even got to the place, right? So we're just getting exhausted, and we're like, I can't make it to Florida. I think it was in the Carolinas, a South or North Carolina. And so we get off, and we're like, okay, get to the front desk. And the guy kind of a calmer guy, you know, just, hey, what's going on, guys? And you're like, you know, are you just tired? Couldn't tell from this guy.
Sure, one of the
I know,
two.
but it's cool
Shady
guy,
motel
friendly,
too, right? Shady motel.
friendly.
This
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
like the Holiday Inn. This
motel.
was like shady,
Motel.
like you park your car in front of your room door. You know what I'm talking about, David? Like it's your bedroom and it's your car. That's what we're talking about here. So
Yeah, this is my first check-in at a hotel, like doing it myself. So we get in there and we're exhausted, and he's like, you know, we're like starting to fill the period. He's like, you don't gotta be 21. I'm like, no. And so he lets us in. I'm like, oh, whew, okay. So that was like a miracle that we even did that. And then, I don't even know why. If you remember this, we had these
leftovers.
chicken.
Yeah, we
What
had
was
stopped
up with
by
this?
to get chicken.
We were so concerned about chicken that we had.
Our leftovers,
I was
because we were poor college students. We had leftover chicken,
I mean,
right?
we spent some good money on those wings, man.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So we were like, hey, whoa, hey, I don't even know the guy's name. We're like, can you hold this chicken for us?
There's no fridge in our room. That's how shady it was. Like it was like there's no fridge in our room. And so we asked him if he could store the chicken in like the lobby area for us behind the desk.
And I think we saw, we're like, yeah, right back there. Yeah, can you, that thing? Is that okay? And he was just cool, and he ends up taking it, right? He took it, so we're like, whew, chicken's safe, you know? Okay, cool. So we went to bed and stuff like that, and I remember getting up. They had the cereal, you know, even had like those twisty plastic things where you pick your, you know, Fruit Loops or Raisin Bran.
Yeah, old school.
And stuff, and then we were like, man, we gotta go we gotta get the chicken before we go, you know? So we were just waking up, and the guy's like, hey! And we're like, yeah? And he's like,
It's a true story. He's like,
he goes, yeah, I ate your effing chicken.
and he was so serious. And we're these two like 17, 18-year-olds, like scared out of our lives. And he's like, yeah, man, I ate your effing chicken. And I was just like, I don't even know what happened. I think we were just like,
Yeah.
big dogs,
We had the breakfast, so.
And so, yeah, we had the breakfast.
We
So
we wrote down the exit and everything. We had such
did.
a good time.
It was a great
We're
time.
like, South Carolina, exit 26. We got to come back here. You know?
eat our
I
effing
don't
chicken.
know. Yeah,
It's like, he took our
that was-
chicken. And so this was before Twitter, so we couldn't complain. Today I'd be like, you know, stopped at this hotel, he ate my chicken, you know. But anyway, so there's that story. The other story I remember from the summer is, so we're in Orlando, right? And we're like, I don't know, we're 18 and we do stupid stuff. And so we're driving in the car. John's riding. It's our friend Michael. I think, was there a girl in the car? There's a couple people in the car.
There was a girl.
And so
she was either your passenger. Where would you sit?
I think I was in the back. I was behind you.
Then she was.
So we're
she was up front.
driving, and there's this guy riding a bicycle, right? Do you remember this?
High school kid.
Is it a high school kid?
He was a bigger kid. Yeah, he was like,
Big
I'm
dude,
built.
riding
you
a
know,
bicycle.
kinda
And so Michael, our friend, rolls down his window, David. And does he throw? Did he throw or did he?
Do you remember these old CDs like
The AOL CDs. Anybody
like
remember
free
AOL
internet?
CDs? That's how you got internet
you know?
back in the day.
We had a bunch
like,
of them. So he
you
had
know,
one of those.
and so he took
Why
a
did he-
CD.
I don't know why he had one of those.
What'd you say?
I don't know why he
had one. They had those at Kroger all the time.
I don't know why.
And so he threw it, and he chucked it at the guy's bike. And did he yell?
He yells. He goes, bam!
Yeah, he's like, bam! And he threw it at the wheel of the guy, and the guy's like, like about to fall over. It was hilarious.
Well, hold on. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, because I'm driving, and I don't like tell people to do this stuff. You know, it's not like, hey, if you see somebody on the road, throw something at them and yell at them. Okay?
Yeah.
That's not how I usually drive my car. Just so everybody knows that. Then I'm looking back. I was like, why? I'm like, look, why did you do that? I'm like, just don't do that. I'm like, well, you know. Then I'm thinking.
The guy almost falls off his bike. It's hilarious.
Kind of humorous.
We're
but
laughing.
Fine, let's just move on.
And then
I'm
John's
thinking.
driving.
Let's at least he's just behind us. Let's just move on.
Yep.
And then, if you remember, a stoplight
A
comes.
stoplight comes on.
We're at the stoplight.
And guy is booking it on his bike. Like he's like riding as fast as I've ever seen a human.
I'm ready to like peel out.
And we're looking in the rearview mirror, and this guy is just booking it.
No, fast,
and I'm looking at the light like, come on, please. And
so red.
so we roll up the windows, lock all the doors. He gets to us before the light. You remember this? Pulls his bike in front of the car.
And then it turns green.
And then it turns green
thanks,
at an
Ellen.
intersection, drops his bike in front of the car, and comes on the hood of our car. And he is, I don't think I've ever seen a guy this angry in
And
my
then
life.
people are driving around us, and people like beep.
People are honking because we can't go. There's a guy on our hood.
Oh, you out of the car.
And he is mad.
No, you.
He is so mad. He's screaming. He's like, get out of the car. You want to fight? I'll fight you right now. Get out of the car. And we're just like, and do you remember this? This is really funny. He's like, is it the brother part? Is that the part? Remember, he's like, I see you got a brother back there. I'm not scared of the brother. And I'm just like, bro, I'm just hanging back here. He's like, I'll take you and the brother back there. Get out of this car.
I forgot the thing I was thinking, I forgot the brother.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But then this other guy again, this guy in the back seat's like trying to help out. So he's all thinking, oh, hey, he's like rolling away. Do you want some money? I'll give you money.
He wasn't a homeless guy. He was just a random guy. And so, but John, I just remember you were just like, this was not funny in the moment, but it was funny later. I just remember John going, sir, I apologize. You're like, sir, I am so sorry. And he's just smashed. I mean, he was like, I think he must have been having the worst day of his life because this guy was about to rip the hood off the car.
How did we get around him? I
think eventually he just got off the bike and took his bike and was just like, screw you guys or whatever. And we're like, oh, sorry.
I knew if I opened that door, he was coming in.
Oh, he was going to rip you out of the car.
I'm trying to inch forward maybe to just push him a little bit, not run him over.
I mean, there was 4 of us and we were more scared of that guy.
That was funny.
You know, and so I always think of that. I think of the effing chicken. And I think of the guy on the bicycle. That's the last time I ever yelled at a guy on a bicycle.
Oh, please don't.
In my life. And so, but anyways, man, I got tears in my eyes. Okay, so thanks for coming on the show, John. We're gonna play a game in a little bit. One of our love languages, John and I, is movies. I don't know if that's an official love language out of the 5 love languages.
Movies.
But we love movies, and so we're gonna come back. We're gonna play a game that we made up. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But before that, we're gonna take a quick break. Thanks, John, again for coming on the show, everybody.